Welcome, everybody, to Cascadia Hockey Podcast. My name is Aaron Piper. I'm here today with half of Kyle Houts. He's got a mild concussion this morning.
How long have I been here? No,
6 years? 6.5?
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Are the boils starting to go away?
Oh, man.
Oh, man, I was telling Kyle before we started recording, so we didn't have to do this today, but why don't you tell the folks what happened? A little puck to the head action?
Yeah. I was playing an insanely fast, high-speed, high-intensity beer league game the other night.
Wow.
No, it was Monday night, and I've had a concussion before a couple years ago, and when they tell you it doesn't get better, you just get more vulnerable with every concussion. They weren't kidding.
Wow.
Like, after the hit, I knew something was kind of off. Like, I was like, this sucks.
Was this early in the game?
Oh, shit. I don't know. First or second period.
So you played the whole game, though?
Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah.
Adrenaline's still up. I probably wasn't feeling the full effect of it right away, but I knew something was off right away, and I probably should have stopped. And Steve Fleming was refereeing, and he knows that I've had a concussion before. So he came up, and he's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, totally.
I'm good."
Yeah, I lied to him.
Thanks, Phil.
I now not like intentionally, like, fuck you, I'm doing what I want. Like, it wasn't like that. Like, I felt like I could keep going, so I was like, yeah, I'm good. But I did have to, like, the strap on my mask came off, and then there's a pad inside that was loose, and I was like, that might be why. So
maybe time for a new mask.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. But that paint job, though. So I finished the game, and we lost, I think, 5-0, 4-0. We just got our asses kicked. Clearly.
How many goals went in after the concussion?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You didn't like Goldberg it and like walk away and just point to the net and say it's yours, did you?
Yeah. Welcome to my abode. Please take your shoes off at the door. I finished the game, and then as I was kind of like put my stuff away, I was like, you know what? I should probably go to the hospital. 'Cause I'm really feeling off balance. My head is pounding. I need to go to the hospital. So I had to, like, I'd never been to the hospital here. Like, I was like, fucking, I don't even know where I go. Like, because it's not like a regular, like, hospital this way. They all got, like, Cadillac and trios and all this stuff. And I was like, I don't even know, like, it's not like any other town I've lived in where it's just a hospital and it says emergency this way. Like,
right.
I had to, like, look it up and, like, go through and tap each fucking one and be like, oh, that one's closed. That one's closed. That one's closed. I'm like, for fuck's sake, is there anything open 24 hours? So I found the Cadillac that's over in Kennewick. Yeah. And thankfully, like, I took the back roads. Nobody was on it, because I was probably driving like half the speed limit.
Wow.
Like, I felt like I was going the speed limit, and I looked down and I was like, oh, that's 15. I probably shouldn't have been driving. But, like, by the time I'd made the decision, I probably should have called somebody. I really should have. But, like, everybody was gone already, and I was like, okay, well, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And I made it there just fine. And, they took me in, they took me back, and, I'd been through this before. I knew what was going on. And the doc, he said, now, this is something I didn't experience in the first one. The worst concussion I had was a few years ago. What I didn't experience, then I was starting to kind of feel this time where I had no recollection of the shot. I had no idea who it was or where it came from. Like thinking right now, I don't even know what end of the ice I was on.
Wow.
Like, he was like, where did the puck hit you? And that was the first one I realized I had no idea.
Wow.
I was like, well, clearly it hit me in the head.
Somewhere from here to here.
I thought it might have been on the left side just because that's where the strap came off. But I've had it hit the helmet, multiple times.
Sure.
And even like in recent, past couple of years after my first concussion, I've taken a lot of shots to the head and I've had no issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just a weird angle and just kind of hit a spot that was,
Yeah.
kind of tender or something. Like I was getting pretty beat up that game.
Yeah.
I had to fill in for somebody because they were going to be late. So in the first game, and I took a shot to the armpit. And I have this gnarly, red and black bruise in my armpit right now.
One of the few places a goalie is not covered.
No, it hurt so much.
Crazy.
And then I was like, I was like holding my side, and I thought the puck was there.
Oh,
I thought I had the puck there. I thought I'd squeezed it, and then I look over, and it just goes whoop, and like right in the net on my left side, and I was like, oh well, guess I didn't have it.
just one of those nights, huh?
It had to have been, and I got hit. I got hit in the head before that too. I think another guy hit me, but it wasn't a hard one, and
Yeah.
he was even like, you good? Like that's just how people are. They want to make sure that like you're playing against anybody, they're going to check on you.
Right.
If you look like you got like especially goalies, if goalie gets hits in the head, they're gonna be like, you all right? You good?
Yeah.
And that's what I like about the adult league. Most people check on each other.
Yeah.
Then there's like the few handful that are just total shits and don't care. Like I had a guy like, not to like go on with like beer league talk, but
No, that's fine.
I had a guy, he was skating up on a breakaway and somebody was behind him. They got a little tangled up. Like the defender caught up to him and they got tangled up and he just rushed straight into me.
Wow.
And we both go into the net and I put my hands up to protect myself, and I was in an attempt to kind of like push him off first before we go down.
Yeah.
And then he gets up. The first thing he says, I said I was sorry. I didn't need a blocker to the face. I was like, what the fuck you didn't say sorry for shit.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Get out of my net.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to start fights.
Right.
I don't get paid for this shit.
Right.
But like, don't try to make yourself look like you didn't do anything wrong. Like, learn to skate. How about that?
Yeah.
If I could learn to stop.
Yeah.
So, he couldn't really help it. I get that. But don't try to make me look like the asshole. If you are the guy piling into the goalie, you're the asshole.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's just how it is.
You see it in the NHL.
I wasn't skating toward you. I
Yeah.
wasn't, like, flipping you off or calling your mother a whore or anything.
Well, it could have happened last night. You might have been. You just wouldn't have remembered.
Dude, who knows? Yeah, so went in for a CT scan. We're back at the hospital now.
Oh, wow. They did all that there, huh?
Yeah. Went in for a CT scan just to make sure I wasn't bleeding. And he said it looked good. And I figured it was fine. But like my head still feels a little swollen.
So no bruising or anything going on in the brain itself that they could see?
Well, yeah, nothing that they could see.
Yeah.
They were just looking for like bleeding.
Sure.
As far as like bruising goes, I mean, that's just probably goes along with a concussion, I guess. I don't know.
I think that's kind of what a concussion is. I mean, your brain smacks
it's when
the
the brain,
inside of the skull.
Yeah, it's when the brain,
Yeah.
hits the wall. So
Makes it through all that padding in there. And is there any protocol for that? Like you said about how Fleming came over to you and was like, "You okay?" Do they have the right to say, "No, you need to get off
he
the ice"?
he could have totally yanked me.
Yeah.
Like and I know like I think he and Hendy were kind of like keeping a really close eye on me after
Sure.
that. Like and some of the other guys were like, you all right? The referees were concerned about you. Hendy was saying you look a little bit in the clouds. I was like, man,
I'm so high.
yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
I like I noticed they were kind of like lagging behind the play a little, just to kind of make sure I got back up after a play or something. And I was like, yeah, I should probably do something about this.
Well, you went to the hospital. You got the CT scan. You know you're not bleeding internally, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. And he said, no hockey while symptoms are around, and then
And you went right back and played another game.
Absolutely. No, I didn't. It was like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Yeah, I was at the hospital for like hour and a half, 2 hours.
Wow.
And he said no hockey while symptoms are occurring, and then give it about a week after you don't feel symptoms anymore before you play again. So that week hasn't started yet.
Yeah. We're still waiting for that clock to go.
Yeah, still waiting for that part. But I told the guy. I mean, it kind of worked out because I'm going to be gone for a couple weekends, and we have games during that time anyway. So
right.
I was going to need a replacement anyway. So this works out. I'm not really missing it that badly. But yeah, so yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But
injuries everywhere right now, dude.
no, I know. Yeah.
I feel like every time I turn around, as you were speaking, I get this headline on my phone. Ottawa forward Brady Tkachuk will miss 1 month with torn ligament in leg.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, he's been one of the bright spots. You know, the fuck's up with Ottawa, man?
Well, and like, this is the first time I've ever done like fantasy hockey.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm doing it with my buddy Tim.
Okay.
And in his league, I think I don't know if he owns the league or what, but
Yeah.
he was definitely kind of coordinating a lot of it. And the other day he texted me and he's like, "Hey man, set your lines up." I was like, "I did." He was like, "You got a lot of guys that aren't playing today on your roster."
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, they're all injured."
Yeah.
Like Shea Weber and Paul Stastny
Wow.
on my roster, and they're both like on injured reserve.
Right.
And then Dustin Byfuglien is also on my list, and he's out with something day to day. Carey Price was out.
Wow.
Like, it's nuts. Like, and I don't know why we're surprised though, because like every year this is always a thing. Like,
it just seems to be. It feels like it's hitting bigger and bigger names this year on a consistent basis.
Well, it's hitting our veterans.
Yeah.
The guys that we know and we have known for the past few years.
Right.
Like shit. Last year, Vegas had that goalie epidemic.
They made it all the way to Dylan Ferguson, who was like
Number five
on the depth chart.
It was Marc-Andre Fleury, Malcolm Subban, and then it was I think Oscar Dansk or
Legacy.
Yeah, Maxime Legacy.
Yeah,
and then Dylan Ferguson, and Dylan started a game.
I know.
Like it was funny because the Americans were up in Kamloops,
right?
And he played against them. They won their game against the Americans,
right?
And then he got that phone call saying, "Hey, we need you in Madison Square Garden."
Yep. Next day, he was in New York.
What the fuck?
Yep.
How I wouldn't be able to handle it. I'm like, I'm gonna need somebody to carry me onto the plane.
Yeah. Well, and it had to be bad too because I mean, once a player goes through camp and then gets sent back to junior, it's not like where you have a two-way contract in the NHL. They can send them back and forth. If they send them back to junior, the only way they can call them back up throughout the season is a straight-up emergency situation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
and then who was out the other day? Oh, Carey was out, and then they had to call a goalie for an emergency situation.
I saw that. It's Carey.
And
Carey's back, though, because he was warming up the other night on the ice because everybody was going gaga about his all-red pads. Did you see those? The all-red stuff?
I was distracted by Flowers' new pads.
The golden ones.
Oh, man.
They're pretty.
Yeah.
I don't like... Man, he fucking pissed me off last weekend. As a fan. Good Lord. That Flyers Golden Knights game.
There was a lot of me that... I held a lot of myself back during that game. I wasn't watching it. I had it like on the ticker.
I didn't, and I did the same thing opening night because I'm not that type of person. I'm not. I don't pick fights like that because it's hockey. Karma's going to come back and bite you.
Yeah.
And I could have when the Flyers were up. I think it was about 3-1 or 4-1 in that opening night game against the Knights. I'm sitting there thinking, A, they'll find a way to fuck it up, which I'm glad they didn't. They did win the game, but B. It's going to come right back.
Yeah.
At some point. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like
I was that guy, and I learned, don't be that guy.
Yeah. I had a buddy I was in Korea with, and he's a really diehard Buffalo Sabres fan.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks shit all the time. And it always bit him in the ass because it's Buffalo.
Did you give it to him last night?
No. I should have, but he's a really good friend of mine. And it's funny seeing like how passionate he is about Buffalo, regardless of like how bad they've done year after year after year.
Yeah.
Like, and I got to give it to him, like it takes dedication to love a team that sucks that bad.
Yeah.
And it sucks seeing the Red Wings going through this right now too, because they haven't won a game yet. And, it's tough to watch, but thankfully my home state finally got a team.
Yeah.
So
And they've had a.
I'm still gonna I'll still follow the Wings, and I'll still cheer them on and wear jerseys and whatnot. I wear a Lidstrom jersey the other night to a bar watching a game. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Rebuilds need to happen.
Well, and that's you can tell the true fan from the fair weather fan real easy.
Oh, yeah.
And I respect a fair weather I respect a fair weather fan. I respect a true fan a lot more. And I think that's why I don't pick those sort of, oh, my team kicked your team's ass.
Yeah.
It's sports, dude. It goes back and forth all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you're a Patriots fan, which they always seem to be right there, but it's like every team goes through the ups and downs, man.
I got a buddy who's a big Capitals fan, and he rubs it in my face every time he gets a chance to. And
I get it. I mean, I get it, but
I have no good comeback right now. It's really hard. Like, even though, like, what was it? Like, I rubbed the Red Wings sweep back in '97. I rubbed that in his face, and he was like, "But man, that was such a cool game, though. Like, seeing
the sweep of the Flyers,
series,
right?
No, not the Flyers, the Caps. But
Yeah.
When they beat the Capitals, I don't know if that was a sweep or not.
97 or 98, yeah.
No, it was.
Was it 97? Because I thought the Red Wings...
This is 96, 97, I think is when...
Because the Red Wings, I'm pretty sure, swept the Flyers in 97.
Another thing that happens with concussions is short-term memory loss. So
that was 20 years ago. That's not short-term.
No, shut up. I'm trying to save face here. Let's see. I got to look it up now. Red Wings, not 2007. Show me who it played. I'm pretty sure it was the one against Washington. And for the life of me, I can't find...
Yeah, it would have been 97, 98, because it was 20 years from when the Caps won the East to when they won the East again.
Yeah, so, like... Anyway, that was when they handed the cup to Vladimir Konstantinov first.
Okay.
And that was right after the accident. And
where he was in the wheelchair.
He was in a wheelchair. Yeah,
I remember.
And that was against Philadelphia. So I'm thinking of the one before or after it.
Probably the year after, I think.
I suddenly can't remember if the Wings won in '98 or.
I think it was '98 because I think if I remember right, '96 was Colorado won it. If I remember right.
Okay. Yep. '98 was Detroit against Washington.
Okay. The sweep.
That was the one where they gave it to Vladdy first.
You know how crazy that is? The Red Wings 2 years in a row swept the Stanley Cup Finals. 2 years in a row. Because they did it to the Flyers in '97.
Yeah.
Did it to the Caps in '98.
There was no cap space back then.
No. Not to downplay what they did.
No,
but
of course.
bought it. They bought a team. And that's what but it doesn't always work. You look at the Rangers.
No, exactly.
Holy shit. How many fucking superstars could you have on one team? New York Rangers, and not do shit with it.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch. It was like watching the Yankees.
Yeah.
And
I think really the big thing that really helped the Red Wings was the Russian Five.
Oh, yeah.
Because they worked like...
There was a chemistry
very, very like, oh, yeah. Yeah. It wasn't just like a chemistry. It was like they were very well put together. They worked together like all the time. Like they were just like they were unstoppable. They were. It was rough. And Konstantinov was a monster, and Larionov was really good with his hands, and it was really, really fun to watch back then. I
want to see that documentary. I know it's like in limited.
Oh my god,
The Russian Five.
Oh, I was thinking you were talking about Red Army.
I've seen Red Army.
Red Army's good.
Red Army's really good.
Yeah,
and I know like NHL Network's been showing it again recently. I purchased it a year or two ago because I've always loved that 1980s story. Obviously Miracle's one of the greatest. Just sports in general.
But seeing it from the other side, that's scary.
I thought that. Well, yeah, and
it's more than just hockey at that point. It's politics. It's power.
All the stereotypes that we put on the Soviet Union during the Cold War. It seems like every time a story does come out, they weren't really stereotypes. They were pretty true.
Pretty true.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And I was talking with a buddy of mine who's Russian, and he plays, kind of high level hockey.
Yeah.
And I was kind of talking with him about it, and he was like, "Well, it's not much different." I was like, "You fucking serious?"
Like now?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, some days we'll be on our skates for like 14 hours a day. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he like national team?
I don't know. I can't.
Well,
Remember.
I mean, because I know they have different levels of national team, and even during the 60s and 70s when Russia was winning it all, they had like 4 or 5 different national teams.
Yeah.
That they sent out. So
I made a lot of Russian friends while I was in Germany.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, there was actually when I was in Germany, there was just like a small community of Russian people. There was a pretty good Russian population, and the league that I played in was. Like playing with the Vikings when I played in Germany wasn't like beer league. We were like an actual city team, and but it was still had like that kind of beer league feel to it. It wasn't like we were. I don't know how to put it, but anyway,
competitive yet not a lot riding on it. Maybe is a way to put it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like we weren't getting paid. Still,
sure,
kind of thing. But anyway, in our league, we had 2 teams that were just full Russian. And they were always a lot of fun to play. They were competitive. They were physical. They were definitely a lot of fun. Sometimes it got heated. Sometimes, it was just kind of fun. But afterwards, like no matter what happened during the game, usually 1 or 2 of them would kind of come into our locker room and be like, "You guys want beers?"
Nice.
Like
I was just going to ask.
And they always,
their
sportsmanship was fantastic.
That's awesome.
And they'd always invite us out into the parking lot, and they had like a few cases of beers, and we just sit and bullshit with them. Yeah, didn't do that. But yeah, it was always really fun. And when I was in, during the winter was ice, and then during the summer we did inline. And on our inline team, not as many people play inline. They took the summer off. But I played inline, and we had the other goalie that was working with me was he was a Russian guy, really really nice guy, and he was a lot of fun to kind of see like him play and whatnot, like because he was kind of fresh to hockey. He was still kind of learning because he grew up playing bandy, which is I don't even know how to explain it. Just Google it.
I've heard of it. I'm not real familiar with it.
Goalies wear like 2 big like oven mitts.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was watching,
it's like a ball, and they have like a shorter stick. It almost looks kind of like a mix of ice hockey and like field hockey equipment.
Right.
I don't know. Like it's hard to explain. Like, it's weird.
It's played like on a tennis court sort of surface, right? I mean, it's not.
They're playing on ice.
Is it on ice?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not what I'm thinking. Maybe not.
I don't know. Like the one that I was witnessing, and they invited me to play, and I was like, I'll just watch. And I was watching him, and he was killing it. It was cool. But I had no idea what's going on. It's funny because
it looked good.
Because you see, like there are sports in Europe that are a lot more popular than you would imagine.
Sure.
And we've never heard of them.
Right.
Like handball's huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like.
What was I watching? Some Anthony Bourdain show a couple weeks ago. He traveled somewhere, and it was like a really intense game of handball sort of thing, and it was called something else. But I mean, these guys, the preparation they go through is huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We have the 4 majors here, and that's about all anybody gets into, really.
We don't even count soccer in that 4.
No, you got football, baseball, basketball,
and
hockey.
And like the Sounders, they actually bring in quite a following.
Sounders and is it the Timbers in Portland?
Yeah.
Corey would kill me because he's a big Timbers fan.
Yeah. No, it's that rivalry is huge. And then you got the Cascade rivalry, which includes Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver. So
they have an MLS team in Vancouver as well?
Yep.
Is that
Whitecaps.
Okay.
That was my first MLS game.
Okay.
I saw them play against Montreal, and I think it was a tie.
Okay.
And then every Sounders match I've been to, they've won. Which was really cool because there's so much fire. There's a lot of fire.
This is the same, and forgive my ignorance, but I mean, this is like the same MLS league that like the Galaxy play in, and the Washington D.C. team and all that stuff.
Yeah,
DC
Toronto's got one. I don't know. I don't know what the other teams are.
How many teams are there in that now? Because it to me it feels like it kind of grew quietly.
Yeah, I want to say probably 12 or 16-ish.
Okay. And they started off
That's a
with like
shot in
4
the
or
dark,
6 or something like that when they first started doing it. It was like
Yeah.
L.A., Chicago, D.C. It was the
For
really
me, it
big
was
markets.
just suddenly there.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know it existed. I don't follow soccer.
No.
But, I have a platoon sergeant, or not a platoon sergeant. He was a platoon sergeant when I was in Korea. And he, big Sounders fan. Big Sounders fan. And he loves hockey. And, he was, he got me into like what the MLS was. And, you know, like, my first time I went to a Sounders match, I sent him a picture. I was like, or no, I posted on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh, Dave would be proud." And he was just glowing. He loved it.
That's
he was
awesome.
so happy. And
Is
then
he from that
bought,
area?
Yeah. He's from Seattle, and he bought me tickets to the next game I went to. So
Nice.
it was really cool. And I don't really like watch soccer. I'm not into the fake injury bullshit. You know. Somebody argued with me that it's just part of the game and they have to do it. And I'm just like, no, that's dumb. They don't have to. They don't have to look like fucking weaklings on the field.
No.
Pitch. Sorry.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not into that. But if you watch women's soccer,
Yeah.
they're vicious.
Yeah.
And I love it.
So I really got
They're
into
mean.
it because the U.S. women's team, their training facility was in Virginia Beach when I lived there. It was back, like you would never find it sort of thing, but that's where they trained at. And that was about the time that they were winning like the World Cup and the Olympics. Or not the Olympics. What's the other? No, I guess the World Cup. That's the big one.
Yeah.
They were winning that. And, of course, our men's team sucked. We've never really been that good.
Yeah.
But I got interested in it at that point. I feel like with soccer, it's a lot of people how a lot of the outside world looks at hockey. Not a lot of people know hockey, but they know Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know a lot about soccer, but I knew David Beckham. Like when he played, I mean, seriously, that was the one thing where I could say, okay, that's Beckham. He plays soccer, and he's good, right?
Yeah. One thing I've noticed about hockey is when I'm traveling, a lot of people know like major players from their home country. Now, hockey's fairly big in Czech Republic.
Sure.
But when I was in Czech Republic, I was wearing like a Red Wings hat or something. And the waiter at one of the restaurants we were at stopped and talked to me about like all the Red Wings Czechish players.
That's nice.
Obviously Hasek. Like we talked Hasek for a bit.
Yeah.
But the one he brought up, I can't remember his name right now. I don't know if it's
Played for the Red Wings.
I don't know if it's my actual memory or what happened the other night. But he's the one that died on the bench, and they brought him back to life.
Yeah. And then he wanted to go back in and play that game.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, you're going to the hospital, dude.
Yuri Fisher.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was what, like 5-6 years ago or something like that.
This says during a game November 21st, 2005 against the Nashville Predators.
Long ago. Okay.
Fisher collapsed on the bench after going into cardiac arrest. After being unconscious for 6 minutes, Fisher was resuscitated by CPR and was on an automated external defibrillator by Dr. Tony Colochi. Was taken to Detroit Receiving Hospital.
You know, it's not Fisher I was thinking about, though. There was a player on the Stars a few years ago.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Like in warm-ups.
Same scenario.
Yep. He passed or fell over on the bench. They bring him back. They paddle, get the paddles out and get him back to life. And he's ready to go back in and play the game.
Rich Peverly.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Collapses on the Stars bench. The remainder of the Columbus Blue Jackets style Stars game was postponed after Peverly collapsed on the bench with cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
During the first period.
It's crazy. You see these athletes that stuff happens to. You think these guys are in top shape. And for the most part they are, but you get these underlying medical things that can affect anybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's some scary shit.
Yeah, and like it's kind of fun to see them like come to and be like, how much is left in the third, kind of thing. But at the same time, like, obviously that's not the right call.
No.
I remember Drew Miller, when he took that skate to the face.
Yeah.
He was trying to get back in, and his wife was there. She's like, no.
Drew Miller wasn't the goalie, was he?
No.
Who was that goalie that, like, if he would have been at the other side of the rink, he would have died?
Andre Pavlik. He just retired too.
That was crazy. They literally said if you were at the other end of the ice away from the paramedics, you would be dead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah,
but Miller
just collapsed.
Miller took one to the face.
Yeah, I think it was Drew Miller. What's his brother's name? I'm trying to blank. The goalie.
Ryan Miller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Drew Miller took a skate to the face.
Wow.
And it went across his eyebrow. Like his eyebrow, his eyelid.
Oh, yeah.
And he had like some absurd amount of stitches. I think it was like 50 or 40 or stitches or something.
He looked like something straight out of a Call of Duty game.
He looked bad. And he was like, I can still play, right? His wife was there and she's like, no.
No, sir.
And he's like, okay, boss says no. So I think he was out for like 10 or 12 games, I think.
Wow.
To let it heal up. Yeah. But
there's a lot that can go wrong in hockey, and luckily most of the time it doesn't.
And and that's the funny thing too, is like, I've taken a beating. And
you're still getting beat up right now.
And yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like it's a sport that you're going to get injured in. It's going to happen. I've seen little kids break their arms. I've seen grown adults in beer league, like break legs and all kinds of stuff. I got a laundry list of shit I could talk about, but not all my teeth are real. Like, but like when the adrenaline's high, it's hard to tell like how injured you really are.
Sure.
And I got my face smashed up. I thought I just lost a tooth.
Yeah.
I took a puck to the mouth while skating out once, and I thought I just lost a tooth. I kept playing. I was like, it's out. What am I going to fucking do? Put it back in?
Right.
I kept playing, and then the X-rays showed that it just shattered, like all this up here, and I had to have reconstructive surgery done. So
my kid had.
I had no idea. Like
football. Yeah.
And getting the tooth knocked out didn't hurt. Like
right.
The adrenaline was so high. Like I knew it was a tooth. I knew I was bleeding, but like I wasn't like, in awful pain. I just knew something was wrong with my face. Mm-hmm. I went into the bathroom or locker room and cleaned up, and I was like, well, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change right now. Mm-hmm. Might as well just finish playing. Mm-hmm. I paid $10 to be here. Might as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So
we see it happen all the time. Well, I mean, a couple weeks ago, Ovi takes a puck that deflects. He's standing on the bench and takes that puck that deflects up.
Yeah,
catches him like right in the nose, right on the upper lip. Just kind of shakes it off. He's sitting on the bench, shaking all his teeth. And, okay, they're all still there. Let's go.
Yeah. And it's hard to tell like how serious you're really hurt until later. Like you don't feel it right away, and it's just, that was with me the other night. Was like I feel like the adrenaline was still up, and I was still kind of like high alert, kind of like in goalie mode, and like I was still catching pucks. I felt like I was like, fuck, if anything, they just like knocked the crosshairs back on because I'm catching more than I was earlier. So. At least I think I was catching
Everything's
them.
recalibrated now.
I think I was catching them. For all I knew, I was on the ice out cold, and I was just dreaming about making cool saves.
Oh man!
But once I got off the ice and I started to like kind of get undressed, I was like, okay,
start to come down from.
Yeah, I was like, I'm definitely not feeling good.
Yeah,
and yeah, like I knew right away what it was. I was like, right after it hit. Wherever it came from, I was like, well, we'll see what happens after the game. And I don't know, like, so one of the other goalies I play with, he messaged me yesterday, and he said he was like, someone said they hit you in the ear, and I was like, no, and I want to think that like.
I just don't see whatever angle.
Maybe they feel bad or they're worried that like I'm gonna like be mad about it or something.
It's part of the game.
No, of course not. It's part of the game. Like I've had a concussion before. I know the risks. Like I know like, and it's just and this doesn't happen often. Like
no.
I've taken shots to the head since then, and I'm fine. I didn't feel anything, weird, and I've taken some pretty heavy ones. There's some good shooters, especially this season. B League's just got like, it's faster. Wow. This session's faster for some reason. There's a lot of really, really good players playing this session, and
that's cool.
So the competition's higher, but it's I play for fun. That's it.
Yeah.
I know injuries might happen, and they do, and
that's why you sign a waiver. Or do you not sign a waiver in beer league?
No, we signed something. We signed some stuff
something
for like it's because it goes in with USA. It goes in with USA Hockey.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, like I'm not holding it against anyone. When I got my first concussion a couple years ago, the guy who took the shot felt so bad. Like, he felt really, really guilty. And for months, he refused to take a shot on me.
Really?
Yeah, he would just pass it. And I felt bad. I was like, dude, I'm here. I'm fine. Like, take the shot. He had a really good shot, though. He played for West Point, actually.
Okay.
And so he was talented. Really, really talented player. At that time, probably some of the highest talent I'd played against. Mm-hmm. But, like, he was... he felt so bad, and I was like, dude, it's fine. Just take the shot. I was like, I was like yelling at him when he had the puck and he was coming into the zone. I'm like, shoot! I was trying to get him to shoot, and
no,
he wouldn't do it. He just kept passing it. So
wow.
And I get it. You don't want to hurt anyone,
sure.
Unless you're like the weirdos in beer league who think you're going to get in a fight and people are going to think you look cool. Because that's not true.
Because the 4 people that are watching the game are, that influential.
4? What beer league games are you going to? We don't get 4.
Does anybody...
Westy. Yeah,
Westy.
No, actually we do.
Well, Westy's usually playing, though, isn't he?
No, he comes and watches a lot of the games, actually.
Okay.
He'll come and sit and... I like to imagine that he... as he sits and watches, I imagine... He's probably like... No, I think that's cool. Like, just kind of cool. Just kind of staying up to speed with it and, keeping it fresh in his head. So
good for him.
Yeah, no, he's at a lot of the games. Like, he's there a lot, and he was there for that game the other night. I don't know if he saw what happened. He was kind of going in between the locker room and the benches because he just played a game. So he was enjoying an adult beverage following his game. So I don't know if he knows what happened, but he was watching a lot of the game, and he's always got a good idea of like what teams are good and who's playing well. He knows who the good shooters are, especially because he's a goalie too. So
sure,
I keep in mind who the good shooters are, and I think that's the fun part of it. Like, we don't, we're not pros, we don't get paid for this shit,
right?
But like,
for love of the game,
yeah, absolutely. It's still fun to get out there, and for me, I like the aspect of trying to figure out everyone's shots. I like trying to figure out everyone's like tendencies and their weaknesses and stuff as far as like shooters go. Like, guys will come into the zone and I think, okay, this guy normally passes it, so I'll prep for a pass.
Sure.
Or this guy's probably going to cross the blue line and take a shot, and they usually do, and I see it coming a mile away, and I'm like, come on, dude, you're a good shooter. Fucking come closer.
Sure.
Like, there's a lot of guys out there that I have a really hard time stopping.
Really?
Because in USA hockey and like adult league and stuff, you can't score more than 3 goals. Once you score 3, then your goals after that won't count.
Oh, okay.
Because like you're just like too talented for that league, apparently.
So if
it's kind of dumb.
If you score 3 goals in a game,
once you
your
reach
4th one doesn't count for the team or doesn't count for you.
Doesn't count at all.
Really?
Like, they'll just take it like a stop puck.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of dumb.
Yeah, I'm with
Very
you.
dumb. But that's just how it is. And so it sucks because then, like, at the same time, like, sometimes I want these shooters to shoot because I like to try to stop them. I like to try to, like, figure them out and kind of get them thinking, like, oh, man, like, what am I going to do to score on you kind of thing. Like, I love that. Like, I love when I get scored on and a big celebration happens after that from the other team. Because that just means I'm doing something right,
like we beat house.
If you get scored on, and nobody says anything,
meh.
Then it's like, okay, I must be child's play.
So when you hear wah wah wah.
Yeah. If it's just crickets after you get scored on, then you fucked up. Like, you just suck. Work on your game. No, that's not totally true though. Because after some people just play the game for so long, and you don't see like big celebrations in beer league, first of all,
right?
So if but that's what I like to think, and that kind of like helps me because I don't stay on the same team. Like, we redraft every season for some fucking reason. I hate that so much. I hate it because I don't like everyone on the ice. Because there's some people who just like to go out there and just be asses.
Right.
Like, they like to go out and try to pick fights with people, and it gets annoying. Like, it's not fun, And if you got that guy on your team, then you're going to be on a shorthanded most of the time. And it's definitely a workout, but it's not fun on everybody. Like,
Right.
they don't realize like what effect that is on everyone else. So
Yeah.
there was one guy. There was a team I played for, and this one guy just would not stop running his fucking mouth. Like, he would call the ref, a lot of names I won't repeat right now. But, and it's like, these guys, these referees, they're not pro. They're not top tier. They're getting paid, and you're paying them. So there's that. But like,
True.
But we do have guys like Fleming out there, and he's a WHL linesman, and he's probably, I never hear complaints about him. Like, he does a really good job, and I really like having him, officiating our games. But we had this one guy on this team, I'm not going to mention, but he would just not stop fucking running his mouth, the referees. Like, he would blatantly slash somebody. Like he'd get mad because somebody took the puck from him. And it was just like, well, puck handle better. Yeah. And he'd get mad and he'd slash him. And then he'd say, I didn't even fucking touch him. Fuck you, ref. You're a piece of shit, kind of thing. Like, and so they'd give him like a game, and, he'd sit in the box for the rest of the period. And one time I got so mad at him, though. Like, he had to have had like 3 penalties in a game. And we got scored on every time.
Wow.
And the third one, he was coming out of the box, and I fired the puck at him. And he looked at me like I had like ran over his daughter or something. And I was just like, no, fuck you, dude. Yeah. You're a piece of shit. Like,
grow the fuck up.
Grow up. Yeah, grow up. It's just beer league. Like, yeah, I probably...
Your life doesn't
I was
depend
a little childish, like, throwing the puck at him like that, but like...
Dude, but you get to the point where enough is enough.
Yeah, like, it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun playing with guys like that.
Right.
Like, who's that fun for? Like, it's not serious. We don't even have a trophy. There's no trophy that we win when we win, like, the fucking season. Like, what is really at stake here?
Yeah.
Why go out and call the ref names? Why get mad when, if you mess up or somebody bumps into you? Like, half the time, you all bumped into each other and knocked each other over because your skating's not...
You can't skate very
Your
well.
skating is B-level beer league.
Right.
Like, that's why.
Right.
And they don't realize that. They take everything personal, and it doesn't make it fun. It's not fun. Like,
no. Just
fucking calm down and enjoy the game. I have the most fun, and I play the best when I'm having fun. Yeah. And if you notice, like, guys like Fleury, like, that guy's always fucking smiling.
I know.
Like, what? When is he ever in a bad mood? He's just loving the game, and I like that mentality. And I've noticed, like, even if I'm getting my ass kicked, like, I get into the game more if I'm having fun and I'm laughing and having, I'm joking with the other guys, my team or not. It's I just love playing, and it's the fun of it. And I really do think that, like, if you're having fun, you're playing better. Yeah. And I always feel like I'm just more on top of things when I'm having fun. Sure. When I get concussions, though, I'm not really quite sure where I'm at. And
you don't even remember what you've been saying for the last 45 minutes, have you?
I'm surprised we're at 45 minutes.
We're at 45. Yeah. So,
no, I'm definitely in the clouds. Like, but I mean, and I think you weren't sure if I should be out and about, and I'm not either. But I feel like,
well, once I saw you get up when I walked in, and you got up and kind of stumbled over towards me, I'm like, oh, you all right, man? Because you're usually pretty chipper, and it was like, well, I'm here, part of me anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely here.
But one way am I?
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. But I mean, part of me kind of thought that, like, maybe this would be a good opportunity to talk about concussions in general, and like, minor, but they still have an effect, and if something's wrong, and when the referee suggests you need to stop, you need to stop. That's good. I should have stopped. Referee didn't say you should stop. He didn't say that. At least I don't think he did. But if something's wrong, definitely take care of yourself. Like, definitely, because concussions are no joke. Like, that kind of shit. I've had times where I've not had a concussion going on at the time. And I've had one. Since the first one, I've had days where I just had a lot of headaches, and if I'm playing hockey and, maybe I take a couple dings off the helmet where I feel fine for, the next couple days. There's been times where days after that, I'd just go like a week without sleeping well, and I'd be, my mood swings would be like insane. Like, I'd just be pissed off for no reason. And that shit's real. Like, it is. Like, and I'm not going to say that I've had like bad concussions compared to anyone else, but concussions happen, and they affect people in different severities. I went to where my first, so following the first concussion, the clinic that I went to was in Joint Base Lewis McChord up in Washington, outside of Tacoma. And this clinic is where a lot of the Seahawks players actually went to also. So they know their shit. These guys, the doctors that are at this place. I mean, this is like a really high-end clinic where I started going to, and I just went through some kind of TBI therapy, and there's really nothing you can do except just kind of like take care of yourself. Like, I've been drinking a lot of water. I forgot my water, but yesterday I was drinking a lot of water, and it varies with how it happens and how it affects the people, or how it affects people in the aftermath. And like, there's no timetable on when my symptoms will go away. Even though this was mild, my first one, I think it took me about 2 weeks before I started feeling 100% again. And it was just mild. Like, I wasn't knocked unconscious or anything, but like, I was, having dizzy spells, and I had headaches, and the biggest thing that following a concussion is do not drink alcohol, because like, especially like with me, like I do, I have a little bit of anxiety and depression kind of stuff once in a while, and while your brain is trying to heal, a depressant is not a good idea. And alcohol is a depressant. So I'm like, I got to make sure that I'm not drinking for, a while before I, once I feel good again, then I can start. But like, it's that kind of stuff that like you got to pay attention to. Like, if you don't feel right, like definitely go get it checked out. Sure. Because, like, this generation right now, we're just starting to kind of like notice TBIs and notice these concussions that, how they're affecting people. Like, we look at guys that, like pro level, like those guys get bonked around quite a bit, and we see what happened to Derek Bugard and, guys like that. Like, those guys go through some very, very serious stuff. Yeah. I follow Cece Franzen, Johan Franzen's wife. Okay. On Instagram, and it's tough. It's tough to watch because she kind of documents some of his recovery, and he's not recovered. No. And he hasn't played in like 2 years, maybe. Yeah. And he's still struggling.
Pronger's another one.
Yeah, Chris Pronger definitely.
That was 6 years ago. Yeah. And I mean, he's obviously done playing now, but even his wife, like a couple years ago, came out and said, "I just want my husband back." Yeah. A couple years after it happened, his last concussion, he's still not 100%. Yeah. Eric Lindros was another one that was never 100% after those Scott Stevens hits, ever. I don't care what he says. Yeah. He wasn't.
And it'll definitely have an effect, a long-lasting effect. So, and you don't never get better. No, you never will, because it's the brain. Like, it's just after the first one, the next one is going to be easier, and the next one will be easier than that, and it's just like, it's tough because it's like, you think you feel okay and you think you feel good, but like, that there's still some like kind of lingering effects that will always be there. Yeah. Like, I mean, I won't even like have my head hit, and sometimes I'm like laying down at night, and it'll just feel like my head's just getting struck by something, and I get dizzy, and I've talked to doctors about it, and they're like, "Oh, here you go, it's vertigo." Okay.
No, that's the symptom. That's not the underlying
problem. That's not why. It's I don't have vertigo, but right. Maybe like a quick spell of it, but like it's not like,
it's not like you have some sort of infection in your inner ear. It's because your brain's been jostled around up there. Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too that I think makes it hard for people, even doctors. It's like, it's different for everyone. It affects everyone differently, and you can't fully voice exactly what's going on up there, and they can't fully see. You got a broken bone, you're going to see it on an X-ray. Yeah. At the very least, a CT scan will show, is there bleeding, is there bruising, whatever. But how it's affecting you, you're the only one that knows that.
Yeah.
You know?
And for all I know, I could be better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or I could be better in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Like, today I feel okay.
You're here.
Yeah, I made it. I didn't I didn't crash into a tree or anything.
Well, you noticed your Jeep was like in half, right? In the parking lot?
It's fine. It's drivable.
It's a Jeep, man.
No, I mean, compared to the last concussion, I feel,
Yeah.
a lot better. But like, I'm still a little fuzzy today. Like,
Bright lights.
yeah, no, I'm keeping my hat on for a reason. So
Yeah. No, I don't blame you.
that light right there, I'm not. It's,
Just totally turned it off.
yeah, it's fine.
It's called Cascadia Hockey After Dark.
We're sitting in the dark talking about our memory loss and head conditions.
Are you naked in a beanbag chair eating Cheetos?
We are.
Well, today kind of had a somber feel to it, but I mean, it's a good point in everything you bring up, and I mean, I think it's one of those things where, you can be somebody like Danny Carcillo who takes it way to the extreme one direction. I get what he's saying, and a lot of his beef right now is with the NHL and how they don't take care of players afterwards, and I'm not saying he's wrong on that.
No, but it's hard to gauge from other people. Like, it's got to be you. Like,
It's got to be from both sides too. I mean,
yeah. Of course,
if you
the
offer
NHL
the help and somebody doesn't want to take the help, that's their problem.
But like, yeah, and it's. I feel like, I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. I saw his bit on Players Tribune.
Yeah,
and if you listeners have a chance, look up Danny. I can't remember how you say his name.
Carcillo.
Carcillo.
Carcillo, I believe. Played for the Blackhawks. Played for the Flyers.
Rangers.
I believe he played for the Rangers. Yeah.
But he had a really good bit on the Players Tribune about concussions and head injuries, and I highly recommend it. But that's the other thing too, is it's you gotta say, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
And that's hard for a lot of people. And even like the strongest, baddest players out there, they have those issues. And saying, hey, I need help is a pretty tough thing for some of those guys.
Yeah.
Especially the guys that are the enforcers, the guys who are supposed to be the tough guys. You don't want to look weak. You don't want to look like you are hurt or anything like that. But nobody wants to see you hurt.
No.
Especially as the tough guy. Like, don't, set the pride aside. Like, if something's wrong, if something's off, like, say, I need to go in. I need to get this checked.
I.e. Derek Bugard.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
if you guys get a chance, we've talked about it before. If you get a chance, you want to read. It's kind of a somber story, but it's also kind of an eye opener too. It's called Boy on Ice, which was kind of a biography about Derek Bugard's life through hockey and being the enforcer and not really coming to terms with how it was affecting his body, and instead of just spiraling downwards,
Yeah.
and it happens quite a bit. It's good stuff today. I mean, it really is. Like, once again, I didn't really know it was going to go this direction, but if you guys play, excuse me, if you guys play or you watch the game or whatever, just remember, all human beings, and this, it's real. I think about my kid, my kid playing football. Several years ago, he was in a tournament over in the West Side, and his mom and I weren't there. But we get a call after, it was like a 3 football games in 3 days, which is pretty intense. We get a call after the first game from his coach saying, we think Ryan has a concussion. Like, okay, what's the symptoms and all this stuff? Long story short, Ryan called and said, Dad, I'm fine. I have a headache. Lights are kind of hurting my eyes a little bit, but I'm fine. I'm like, classic symptoms. I'm not there. If you're not having a CT scan, you're not going to play.
Yeah.
You're human. And that was my kid. He just didn't want to. He never missed a game because of an injury, He didn't want to be that person. But just remember, human beings, we talk about hockey as a community. I think we have to be supportive across the board from a fan perspective, from a player perspective, coaches, executives, everybody. We can't deny that it's a tough sport where there are injuries, and we can't deny that those brain injuries are not something you can just say, oh, he just got his bell rung, or he's just seeing stars or whatever. No, he has a fucking concussion, and it literally could kill him. It could.
Yeah. I mean, that's just no joke.
It is
really
no joke.
So,
and the league at every level, and I think USA Hockey. I'm a member with USA Hockey too, and they send out a lot of concussion protocol, research that they're doing on the subject as well. Always more that could be done. equipment, all that stuff. But it's something to keep in mind.
Well, it's good that your kid's coach said something too.
Yeah.
Like
the coach was the one that said
Yeah.
no. Well, one of the parents too.
and that's what coaches should do.
Exactly. And
If they see something's off, they need to fucking say something.
the coach said to me, he said, I can't say for sure, but I don't want to risk it. And that's how I look at it.
Yeah,
with
and he's not a doctor. He can't tell.
Exactly.
But like if something looks off,
Yep.
he said something and that was good.
Yep. And he said, "Do you want us to take him for a CT scan?" And I was the type of person. Well, let me talk to Ryan. And talking to Ryan, it wasn't like he was slurring speech. It wasn't. If he had it, it was mild. He needed to rest, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And he did, and everything was fine. But it was one of those This is stuff that will follow you for your whole life if you don't take care of it. And that's what we told Ryan. He was in like 7th or 8th grade at that point. I'm like, really? You want to risk
Thinking
it
about
at this
a concussion
point?
at that age is tough.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too, I mean, the brain itself is not even done fully developing at that age. So I mean, but anyway, take it easy. If you are a beer leaguer listening, or you've got friends and stuff, make sure don't mess around with that stuff. This is your public service announcement for the day. But seriously, don't mess around with it. And just remember, I mean, it's a game where we're not exploiting, but exerting our bodies in ways that injuries are going to happen. So, well, you need to go. Because you need to go to the doctor again. You're bleeding from the eyeballs right now, just so you know.
That's natural.
Oh, okay. You're just crying tears of joy so hard. Let's end on a happy note. Last week we finished up the contest. I want to give a big shout out to Moose A1,000,005 on Instagram, who won our copy of NHL 19. Moose A1,000,000 is from Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Do you know where Elizabeth City, North Carolina is?
I have never heard of that town. And I lived in North Carolina. But there's a lot of towns in North Carolina. Like it was a contrast from when I moved to Nevada, which has like 8, to like North Carolina that's got like 800.
You've got like 8 within like 8 miles of each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
like I don't mean to interrupt you, but like Nevada is pretty. There's not a lot of towns in Nevada. Like there's a lot of space in Nevada.
Well, if you look at the map, like Wyoming, Nevada, even Montana, South Dakota. There's a lot of space in between towns.
Yeah. And
even Oregon.
No matter where you say you're from in Nevada, everyone's like, "Oh, is that near Vegas?"
Yeah.
No, Vegas is actually an 8-hour drive away. But thanks.
Right. Well, that's like I'm from Washington. Oh, how close are you to Seattle? It's the other side of the state. Anyway, no, just so big congrats to him, Elizabeth City, which was kind of cool. I actually. The tattoo that I have on my upper arm over here, the little Chinese symbol, was done in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. So,
oh wow,
yeah, it was close to Virginia Beach. But so, congrats to him. We will be running more contests soon. We've got new stuff that will be on the website next week. It's shipping to us today. Also, if you saw my post the other day, the Buried Puck post that said support local hockey, we got some people that were. Yeah, share that. We had some shares. We had some people that were interested to hear more. There is more coming on that. It's going to be big, and it's still developing, but I at least wanted to drop that knowledge into people's heads. Support local hockey. Just get those 3 words in your mind for right now, and there'll be more on that later. So, all right, man. Anything else you want to say? You want to take it from the top again?
I thought we were just getting started.
For Kyle Houts, I'm Aaron Piper. We're going to wrap this one up, and we will see you guys back next Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, or whenever we decide to post it. Verda?
Bye. Verda.